Hello, Buju. We are doing a presentation on harvesting. Every month we have a theme that we want all teachers to incorporate into their lesson plans: math, science, reading, writing. And September is harvesting. Uh, Other months we'll have like trapping, fishing, maple sugaring. Uh, right now, this month is harvesting. Here's some words that we can use. Can you hear me okay over there?
I can hear you.
All right, so we're going to go over some words. Uh, Repeat after me. Say, for gardening, say, gitige, gitige, gitige. She or he is harvesting. Now, this one is a command, VTI. Water it, ziga, undone. Ziga undone. Ziga undone. Uh, Command grow it. Another verb transitive inanimate VTI. Grow it. Nitawigetun. Nitawigetun. Grow it. Nitawigetun. Weed it. Munashquin. 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 Harvesting. Mujaginege. 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 All right. So we need to have a little, for harvesting, we need to have a little background information to see it from the Ojibwe worldview, how we look at things. Um, so we have creation. In creation, the Creator made fire, water, earth, wind. Then in order, He put the plants here, the animals, the birds, the fish, and lastly, the people. The people are the least important of creation, in that if you remove people, the rest of creation would do just fine. But if you removed any of the other parts of creation, it would be very difficult for the rest of the web of life. Creator also put spirits here to watch over us, to help the people, such as Bigfoot and Wild Man, underwater panther, mermaids, mermen. There's a whole bunch of them. Spirits here to watch over us. And he told them to watch over us and teach us how to respect everything and use our tobacco. These are the Indians, Anishinaabe, we have two commandments: respect all of creation and everybody, and use tobacco to show that respect. So if we're gonna pick sage, we got to put tobacco out and give thanks. If we're gonna harvest rice, we put tobacco out and we give thanks, and we give thanks to the water beings, ask for safe passage on the water, and we give thanks to the wild rice and all the critters around there that are part of the wild rice. Uh, so, of course, the Indians didn't listen, and they were ruining everything. They forgot to use their tobacco. They forgot to respect everything. They're fighting each other and jealous all the time. So the creator found out, and he flooded the earth. He pressed the reset button and said, do over. So after the flood, creator redid plants, animals, birds, fish, and the people. Some of the old species were there, but there were new species at the new creation. And again, we had the two cardinal rules: respect everything and use tobacco. So hopefully we keep doing that. We use our tobacco today. So when we harvest stuff, we have to use tobacco to give thanks. All of creation is has part of the Creator's light in them. Everything has a Creator's light. So when we look at all of creation, we are also looking at the Creator, and we're part of creation too. So we're part of the Creator. That's respect and use our tobacco. So I'm gonna we used to live over by the ocean on the east coast, up and down the shoreline, and we were huge. And I'm gonna turn the migration over to Sharon. Sharon,
Bonjour, Anin. Minogigijeb. I'm going to share a part of the migration of the Anishinaabe story. And I read this story in the Mishomis book, The Voice of the Ojibwe by Eddie Benton Benet. And it begins with 7 prophets came to the Anishinaabe people, who at that time, like Gnu had mentioned, lived on the shores of the great salt water in the east. The people were so many and powerful that if you climbed the highest mountain and you looked in every direction, you would not be able to see the end of the Anishinaabe nation, which that statement in itself is so powerful and beautiful to me. Among the group of Anishinaabe people, there were berry pickers, wood carvers, fishermen, canoe builders, stone carvers, and also the ones in charge of growing food from Mother Earth. And they were called Gitigay Wininiwag. And that means planters or keepers of the Creator's garden. There was plenty of food for everyone from the land and from the sea, and there was fish from many of the rivers. The prophet of the first fire had told the Anishinaabe people, if you do not move, you will be destroyed. After hearing this, there was people that agreed right away, okay, we must leave. But then there was people that also weren't too sure that they wanted to leave this area that they were living in. But at the end, they left. And along the way, they were guided on this journey. And this journey took many, many years. It is said that it took up to 500 years. They made a lot of stops along the way, and it was near the Spirit Island that the words of the seventh prophet was fulfilled. Here, the Anishinaabe nation found the food that grows on the water, which to us we know that it is monoman or wild rice. And monoman has always been regarded by the Ojibwe as the sacred gift of their chosen ground. And I remember listening to a man who shared a story with me just about 3 weeks ago. He said that when he was younger, him and his dad used to go racing here in Red Lake, and there was plentiful rice. But because of the way that um, the people that um, I guess the area where it was at was near the Red Lake Dam, and you have to gauge the water, or you have to let certain water in and then you have to let the water out. I'm not sure about all of that, but the correct terminology. But because of the water, wild rice has to have certain amount of water and it can't be over flooded. And I think that's what happened is that we didn't give it enough water that it needed or we over flooded it. And now there is there is wild rice in Red Lake and on certain rivers, but it's not the way it was years ago. Canoe?
Alrighty. Can you still hear me pretty good on the recording? Right on, good, because I have been having issues with my microphone. So, anyways, the Great Migration, we ended up here in Minnesota, and we followed what our prophet said, our great Exodus, and so we have our wild rice here, and we also and we also harvest medicines such as sage and sweetgrass, cedar, all kinds of medicines. We have a huge pharmacy out in the woods of different medicines, and Ojibwe's are medicine people. We know lots and lots and lots of medicines and gardens too. Before gaming industry and before self-determination in the 1980s, unemployment was 80 to 90% on reservations. We didn't have the jobs that we have now on the reservations. Then came self-determination, before all of the counties had all the jobs, all the human services jobs. Self-determination moved those jobs onto the reservation. So towards the late 80s and on, we had the unemployment rate decreased dramatically. And with gaming coming in the 1980s, and the casinos, that increased revenue for more jobs to create more jobs. Uh, uh, in and outside of gaming. We've become more dependent on Walmart and the grocery store. And in the past, in order to get money for school clothes, you had to go racing, and racing brought in a lot of revenue. So I'm going to talk about racing. You want to probably want to take notes because I'm gonna give you some information on racing. I think I have. Oh, here we go. So let's say you're a really good racer, and you have to have a partner. It takes two to race to be productive. If you're a really good racer and you keep a good flow, you can bring in 300 pounds of green rice a day. These are arbitrary numbers. Let's say you have 300 pounds a day, and maybe let's say you go for 5 days. 5 times 300 is 1,500 pounds of rice. Uh, Green rice means it still has the chaff on it. If you process it, you have to parch it to burn off the chaff, and then you have to winnow it to separate the chaff. You end up with 60%. So I don't know, 60% of 100 is 60 pounds. If you have 300 pounds, that's 1,800 pounds. I mean, I'm saying that's 180 pounds of finished rice. And you can sell finished rice at 13, 14 bucks a pound. If you go out west and you have a distribution line out west, you could get up to 28 pounds, probably $30 a pound. Sorry, $30 a pound when you start heading out west into the Dakotas and the other tribes out there. They really like that wild rice. Um, anyways, let's say you can sell. Right now, today, green rice. They're buying green rice at the tribal industries because they sell rice worldwide and across the United States. The tribes sell rice, so they'll buy your green rice at $6 a pound today. Uh, So if you had 300 pounds and you sold that at $6 a pound, you would have 18, I believe it's 1,800 dollars in one day. If you riced for 5 days, the amount of money that you can get uh, increases. Uh, of course, nowadays with the cost of groceries, you probably want to keep most of the rice, but sell some to buy clothes and but keep some to stock your refrigerator. Uh, our gardens long ago, well, not too long ago, before the 1980s, uh, and earlier too, Red Lake had community gardens. Uh, at the turn of the century in the uh, 19 1930s or somewhere around there, at the beginning of the 20th century, uh, the surrounding reservations, some of them had difficult, they didn't, their crops didn't do very good. Their Indian agents were starving them on purpose so that they could get them to sign papers, sign agreements. One way was to starve them, starve the res Indians. And White Earth and surrounding reservations, they came all the way up in large contingencies, came to Red Lake to ask for help with their garden foods, because Red Lake was famous for huge community gardens, and they saved the lives of many White Earth people and surrounding Indians. Uh, uh, so that's some of the social studies, some of the financial history of harvesting. And it's also has to do with values of sharing and respecting each other. We go out under the rice pad when we go ricing, we put tobacco in the lake and talk to the spirits of the lake and ask for safe passage. And we give thanks for everything that the water gives us, and we give thanks for the wild rice. Because again, like I said, the creator put his light into everything, all of creation, and put his light into us. So we're part of everything we look at is part of the creator. And we always show respect with that tobacco. I'm gonna turn it back to Sharon. She's gonna talk about some of the community garden activities that are going on with the tribal programming. Sharon?
I'm back.
Oh,
Yes. So I went and visited the garden that is right off of 89, uh, pretty much right across the road from the casino there. And it is called uh, the Get the Gun program. And they initially started in Red Bee about 4 or 5 years ago, and they outgrew that space rather quickly. So then they had to find another area, and that's how they wound up in on 89 there. But everything, the way that they plant things, it's all organic, and they also have started growing some fruit trees and also some berries because they took a look at the community and they discussed, the high rates of diabetes that we have and other health problems that our people were coming into and developing. And they seen this garden as a part or a way as helping the community in their way. So they have, um, the basic garden items like the cucumbers, the beans, the peas, the squash, the kale, the cabbage, and jams, tomatoes. And what I seen when I went over there last week is that they use their produce to um, to make things, and they show the community. They've had classes, they've had jam making classes, they've had salsa making classes. And the day that I went there, they had their homemade salsas and homemade jams. Plus, they had kale chips. Because the bottom line with this program is that they want to show people how to live a better life, and and to how to make things from your garden if you're not used to having a garden, and if you're not used to cooking in that way. So when I went there, they had kale chips for you to sample, and I've never sampled kale chips before, and they are a healthier version of a potato chip, as some of you know. So that day that I went there, they had sea salt kale chips, and they had onion and garlic kale chips, and they weren't bad. I brought them back to the office and had other people check them out, taste them, and they weren't bad. I think for myself that I'd have to uh, maybe eat them a little bit longer, um, just to develop the flavors that they have or the taste that it has. And they also had water there, not just plain water, but water that was mixed with mint and cucumbers from their garden. So that was really nice to see. Um, I believe that's it, Ganu.
Hey, uh, so excuse me. So we want teachers to take this information and create and integrate it into their lesson plans, kind of like when it's Halloween and we integrate Halloween theme. We use a theme to integrate into all of our lesson plans. We can use harvesting to integrate into our lesson plans. Some of the other teachers here, one of them talked about in their kindergarten class, they're putting a little canoe and all the ricing stuff you need, like a pole and the knockers and the winnowing baskets in there so they can pretend play wild racing. Another up in the high school, we have a science class that they're doing coding, they're computer programming coding, and they're going to do the life cycle of plants uh, um, using their coding system in Ojibwe vocabulary. So we want teachers to use the theme of harvesting. And here's some of our vocabulary again. You can press pause and write it down. You can use those in your integration if you want. Next month, every month we have a theme, and of course we're Earth based in our connection to the Earth. So, and a lot of that has to do with gathering food to stay alive. So we have our relationships with the plants, the animals, the birds, the swimmers. Next month is bird hunting, uh, pheasants, grouse, ducks, eagles. No, I'm just kidding. We don't eat eagles because they taste just like loon. No, I'm just kidding. Uh, so next month is going to be uh, bird hunting. The next month after that is animal hunting. And so here's the words: Gitige, Zika, Undone, Nitawa, Gitun, Munishquen, Mujagnege. Use those in if you want, and we'll see you again. Have a good day.